and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today, we're going to be talking about making imperfect commitments. Hey, Janine.
Hey, Shannon, how you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I don't want to take time to talk about the weather, but I just have to say that last week when we talked a week ago, it was below zero here. Right now, it's 52.
Oh my gosh.
But there's still snow on the ground.
It's 52 here.
Oh, good. 52 is mighty nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
After snow.
it is.
Yes.
Although, just as I finished saying my little part of the intro, this huge gust of wind and rain came and was, pattering against my window. So I hope that we're not having a big storm that's going to be problematic.
Right. I didn't hear it for what it's worth. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You have a storm. We've got sunshine and blue skies.
Yeah. Well, I am very happy for you because you guys had a miserable week.
We did, but nothing like Texas. But yes, we had a miserable week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, today we are talking about making imperfect commitments.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about that. I find that a bit of a what's the word? I was going to say provocative. That's overstating it. Then I thought titillating, but that wasn't right. Interesting. We'll settle for interesting topic.
Okay. It is interesting. It's the topic idea came to me when we were holding our Declutter Happy Hour class last week. And I was thinking about how hard it can be to commit to something when you feel like you aren't going to be able to do it perfectly. Mm-hmm. And how allowing yourself to make an imperfect commitment changes everything.
Right. You're allowing yourself to let it be easy and to do it. It's like it's not a binary, either I commit 100% or I don't do anything. You can actually do more. And I like that idea. And I think that certainly Declutter Happy Hour, we perhaps committed to being imperfect. We're succeeding. But yes. I think it's been great.
Yeah, I do too. Well, and this podcast is an excellent example of an imperfect commitment.
Yes.
Because we made a commitment to do this with the caveat as long as it's fun.
Right.
And we feel like it's doing good. And so, it's like, so that allows us that imperfection. Like, we don't have to, quote unquote, get the podcast right to be meeting our commitment. Mm-hmm. We just have to keep showing up in the spirit that we committed to.
Right, and it's a commitment that we made to one another, but it's also an imperfect commitment that we made to our listeners, isn't it? I mean, we're not suggesting that we're anything we're not.
Right.
And so far it's working out really well, and you're right. And we've talked before about how having a podcast about letting go of perfectionism is amazing because you don't feel like you have to be perfect. Really, I mean, so we're especially lucky, right? But it's true of so many things. It doesn't have to be about imperfection baked into the project. You can commit imperfectly for any number of things and still have a really great outcome.
Yeah, it just popped into my head, but it reminds me, I don't know if you've ever seen anything that talks about sort of the difference between relationships where people think that they are soulmates or destined to be together and people who think that they've just found a really good partner.
Oh, no, I've never read any of that. That's interesting.
Well, people who think that they're soulmates, their relationships have a lot more struggles, and tend to have a tougher go of it.
Is it like they've set their standards so high for what their magical relationship?
Right. I think it's that they expect that, their soulmates are destined to be together, that they should have a perfect relationship. Mm-hmm. And they can't ever meet that.
Right.
And if you're recognize that, you're two human beings coming to, you're choosing to create a life together, and that you're going to do that imperfectly, it makes it far easier for you to have a happy relationship, a happy long-term relationship.
It just brings in so much freedom. I mean, the difference between those two things is huge. I mean, the pressure on a relationship that has to be perfect I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So you're right. That's a good example of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Because I think part of it is about, like you said, it's not about, like, you're not choosing to not do something well. You're creating space for you to be imperfect, to experiment, to try different things, to change course.
To take risks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right, and that's the recipe for getting more done and more satisfaction, right? I mean,
yes.
It's sort of paradoxical that accepting that something's going to be imperfect gives you more satisfaction. But right. I can see how it would. It does.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, and that just made me flash back to marathon training, and the difference between training when my goal was just to see if I could do it, and training to beat my Boston Marathon qualifying time. And I baked some flexibility into the second one, but it wasn't nearly as much fun as training to see if I could do it.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. So when you think about training for a marathon, I think about knitting, and it makes me realize that when I let go of the idea that what I'm knitting needs to be perfect, which sometimes I get wrapped up in the idea that if I need to go back and fix a mistake, but when I go past that, the knitting is so much more fun, because fixing your mistakes is so much the opposite of fun when it comes to knitting. Yeah. And so yeah, that's it. Just and yet still, because in a big knit object you don't notice the mistakes really, and especially that's why I like to felt. But even if it's not felted, it's still a very satisfying thing to finish. At least for me. I mean, I hope for a lot of people.
Yeah. And so I think, it can be this way for a project that has an end point, or it can be for something more like a habit that's something that you want to do on a regular basis. Like both ways you can commit to it imperfectly.
And let's talk about yoga for a second, because why wouldn't we, right? So the same thing there, right? I mean, boy oh boy, when I think about how imperfect my yoga practice was, especially when I started, but it certainly still is, and yet it's so enjoyable,
right,
and so beneficial. So, and though I've made a commitment to daily yoga that I'm managing to keep. Before I was keeping it and just doing it more sporadically, it was still really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good thing to notice and to sort of explore is, and this is something we've talked about a lot, and I talk about with my clients all the time, like what's the least you can do that still counts? And I think you brought this up at Declutter Happy Hour, but I said it sort of in different language from the very first time that we did Declutter Happy Hour in whatever that was, 2009. And I said, how much do you want to accomplish, or what do you think you can do and have that? Now it's more like, what do you think you can do? Okay, like 10% of that.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah, you said have that, and you were saying HALVE, but I heard HAVE, so I'm thinking, what is she saying? What does that
You
mean?
can have it.
Yes, right. Okay, so
Instead
you're
of
saying,
halve it.
That's right.
Half it.
So yeah, we were talking about how much can you get, how much, it was how much, think about what effort you're willing to expend that will allow you to reward yourself. And
Right.
you said, yeah, think of that and then cut it in half. And now you're
think
saying
of that and take 10% of that.
And then reward that.
Right.
Right.
So, if for someone who wants to start a daily yoga practice, I think a person's inclination might be, I have to do a half an hour of yoga every day. Mm-hmm. But what if you just got on the mat every day? Mm-hmm. Even if you just got into child's pose, or you just rolled it out and laid down on it, or you rolled it out and stood in mountain pose on it. Mm-hmm. If any of those things counted, then you're meeting your commitment, but you're allowing for all of this flexibility and imperfection in what you do after that point.
Right. Yes. Oh, I love that. And you're honoring the commitment, or rolling out that mat is different, and not doing anything but lying down on it is so much more than not rolling out the mat at all. Right?
Right.
The thought, the intention that's behind it.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, just on one day this weekend, yesterday I think it was, I couldn't get myself to do whatever the practice was, or I guess it was Saturday. It was going to be 35 minutes. It was supposed to be, and so I was going to. In fact, I laid down to do it. Sit on my very comfortable bed, lie on my very comfortable bed, and meditate for X number of minutes. I was gonna let that count. But then, I don't know why I changed it up to a 7-minute yoga practice. That I remembered there was a good one that I could do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was going to be enough, and I think there's a lot of power in that, because it really puts you in the driver's seat.
Exactly.
And it gives you flexibility of choice.
Right. And it helps you strengthen your commitment muscle, because if you make the what you have to do ridiculously easy, so that whatever the thing is that you have to do for it to count for meeting your commitment, if you make that ridiculously easy, then you feel like you have met your commitment, and you trust yourself more, so that you feel comfortable making more of these tiny sort of micro commitments to yourself.
Because each time you fulfill that micro commitment, as easy as it is to do, you're succeeding.
Right.
And you're getting that.
Yeah.
You can build on. I guess that's what I'm trying to think of. Little successes in a row.
Yeah.
Build up.
And I want to clarify that by micro commitment, I don't mean that it's a small commitment, like it's no big deal. I mean that the thing that you're doing is the micro version of what you want to do, or what you think you should be doing.
Right.
Because doing that first thing is the hardest thing. Mm-hmm. The hardest thing is getting on the mat. The hardest thing is not finishing a 20-minute yoga video or a 35-minute yoga video. Mm-hmm. Because it's not like you started it and then you're like, oh, this is too long. It was the idea of that was too much.
Right. Every now and then I will start a practice, like if I'm in if it's a 30-day journey and this is the one we're supposed to do today, and tell myself, it'll be, let's say it's 30 minutes, I'll say, you can stop after 10.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do. Not very often, but sometimes I do. And just being able to allow myself to do that is enough to get me to at least do the 10 minutes.
Right. Which is great. And that's what yoga is about. Like, it's very un-yoga-ish to, like, force yourself to do something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And to take that into other aspects of your life is so nice. And it's hard, like I'm thinking about in terms of business, whether, or work, your professional life, whatever you do for work, that there can be a lot of stress about wanting to do things perfectly. And if you allow yourself, like, if you figure out what showing up for you is enough to count, it gets you over the hump so that you can do the other things you want to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that concept is really important, isn't it? That do you have a name for it? You used to call, I can't remember what the name was for establishing a threshold that then counts.
One thing I've heard it called, like a similar thing, is conditions of satisfaction.
Oh yeah, I think that's the thing I was thinking.
Yeah. So, like, what needs to happen for you to feel like you satisfied that thing?
Right. And I think, this concept of making an imperfect commitment applies really nicely to volunteer work. Like,
yes.
Setting boundaries around volunteer work, perhaps, or saying, yeah, I'll do this thing, but I know that I'm not going to do that thing. Like accepting a position of vice president and saying, okay, I'll do that because you need a vice president, but don't think I'm going to be president next year.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And because I think it's easy, especially for people who have a tendency towards perfection, to feel like it's all or nothing. Like, if you are in an organization, then you feel like you have to make the full commitment, whatever that may be. Mm-hmm. But it might be like you may be able to give more of yourself if you make a small imperfect commitment. Mm-hmm. You can show up in a more supportive, useful, helpful way if you don't have the weight of trying to meet this perfect commitment hanging over you.
Right. Yep. I think that's sound. I know in the past we've talked about that it's perfectly okay to say no to commitments, and it is. But it's also, it's also okay to do less than you're all. I mean, I think it's good to commit to what you're going to commit to, and make sure you understand what imperfect commitment looks like. Don't promise the moon and not deliver it, but it's okay not to promise the moon.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. I think that's such a great point. To not feel like you have to take on more than you really can or want to or have the capacity for, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yay for imperfect commitments.
Yes. And I'm glad we made this imperfect commitment to do this podcast.
Me too, because here we are on episode 144.
That's right.
And now that I just said that, like I jinxed us, and for some reason it's not going to be able to be episode 144.
Right, yes. So if you're listening to this and it's not episode 144, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's imperfect.
That's right.
But we want to hear from you. What kind of imperfect commitments are you making? You can let us know on social media. On Facebook and Instagram, we're at Getting to Good Enough. On Twitter, we're at GTG Enough. You can head over to the show notes at gettingtogoodenough.com, or you can leave us a message at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. But for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. I have an imperfect commitment to my hummingbirds. One just flew here, and it's like, oh, right, I need to refill the feeder. Well, I do it every few days, but I don't hold myself to a schedule.
I hope they understand.
They seem to.
Good.